The golden rule of living in the deep woods of Oregon is simple. If you hear something calling your name from the trees, no, you didn't. Ethan knew the rule. Everyone in Blackwood did. But knowing a rule doesn't make it any less terrifying when the woods actually start talking back. Ethan was a 24-year-old audio engineer. He had moved to an isolated cabin to record crisp, ambient nature sounds for ASMR and film scores. It was late, around 2:14 a.m., and a heavy, suffocating fog had rolled over the valley. He sat in his studio, wearing his studio-grade noise-canceling headphones, listening to the directional microphones he had set up in the perimeter of his backyard. Through the static of the feed, he heard the sound of heavy footsteps crushing dead leaves. Thump, thump, thump. Ethan froze. The sound was coming from the north mic, about 50 yards into the dense tree line. He adjusted the gain on his mixing board, leaning closer to the monitors. The footsteps stopped. Then came the voice. "Ethan, help me. I'm hurt." Ethan's blood ran cold. It was his girlfriend, Sarah. But here was the problem. Sarah was currently in Seattle, a 3-hour drive away. He had texted her goodnight just an hour ago. He pulled off his headphones, his heart hammering against his ribs. The cabin was dead silent, save for the hum of his refrigerator. He grabbed his phone and dialed Sarah. Ring. Ring. "Hey, babe," her voice answered, groggy and muffled. "Everything okay? It's late." "Sarah, are you at your apartment? In Seattle?" Ethan whispered, his eyes locked on the dark window facing the woods. "Yeah, of course. I'm in bed. Why do you sound so freaked out?" "Nothing, just a bad dream. Go back to sleep. I love you." He hung up, exhaling a breath he didn't realize he was holding. He put the headphones back on. He pointed the directional mic further toward the sound. "Ethan, please. It's so cold out here." The voice was identical. The cadence, the slight rasp she got when she was tired, the way she dragged the N at the end of his name. It was a perfect, flawless replica. But Ethan knew about mimics. The local legends warned of things that stole voices to lure prey into the dark. Guys, we spend hours researching and digging up the most terrifying, bone-chilling horror stories from the darkest corners of the internet just for you. If this story is giving you goosebumps, please make sure to drop a like right now and subscribe to the channel so you never miss our upcoming night terrors. Suddenly, the voice changed. The crying stopped instantly. "Ethan, help me. I'm hurt." It repeated the exact phrase, with the exact same inflection, the exact same pause between me and I'm. It sounded like a tape recorder playing on a loop. It wasn't a person, it was a creature practicing. Then, the audio feed erupted into a horrifying sound, a wet, cracking noise, like bones snapping and rearranging themselves, followed by a deep, guttural hiss that no human throat could ever produce. The mic feed went dead. Ethan slammed his laptop shut. Panic seized him. He ran around the cabin, locking the deadbolts, pulling the heavy curtains over the windows. He grabbed his hunting shotgun from the closet, racking a shell into the chamber. Thump! A heavy vibration shook the porch. Something massive had just stepped onto the wooden deck outside his front door. Ethan pointed the shotgun at the door, his hands shaking, sweat stinging his eyes. "Ethan, let me in. It's Sarah. The roads were bad. I wanted to surprise you." The voice whimpered from just outside the wood paneling. "Go away!" Ethan screamed, tears blurring his vision. "You're not her. I just talked to her." The handle of the door began to jiggle violently. "Ethan, Open the door. It's hurting me. It's right behind me. The voice escalated into a frantic, agonizing shriek. It sounded so real, so full of human terror, that Ethan's survival instinct warred with his logic. What if Sarah had driven down? What if she was being killed right outside his door? "What is my mother's middle name?" Ethan yelled, testing it. The screaming outside stopped instantly. Total silence descended on the cabin. A long, agonizing pause stretched for 10 seconds. Then, the voice replied, but this time, it didn't sound like Sarah anymore. It sounded like Ethan's own voice. "What is my mother's middle name?" It parroted back, perfectly matching his terrified, cracking tone. Then, a hideous, mocking laughter echoed from the porch. The creature began to hurl itself against the door. Bang! 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 The wood groaned. The hinges began to give way. Ethan backed up into his studio room, locking the interior door, aiming his gun at the entrance. He knew he couldn't win a physical fight with whatever this was. He needed help. He grabbed his phone, his fingers slick with sweat, and dialed 911. 911, what is your emergency? A calm, reassuring female operator answered. My name is Ethan Vance. I'm at 442 Mile Rock Cabin. There is something, a man or a creature, breaking into my house. I have a gun, but the door is breaking. Calm down, Ethan, the operator said. I am dispatching units to your location right now. Hold tight. Can you barricade the door? I'm trying. Please hurry, Ethan sobbed, leaning his weight against the studio door as the main front door outside shattered open with a loud crash. Heavy, uneven footsteps entered his living room. The sound of dragging claws scraped against his hardwood floors. Ethan, the operator's voice came through the phone line. The police are 5 minutes away. Just stay on the line with me. You're going to be okay. Ethan wept silently, holding the phone tight to his ear, listening to the heavy breathing of the monster just on the other side of his bedroom door. Thank you, Ethan whispered to the operator. Please tell them to hurry. Don't worry, Ethan, the 911 operator replied smoothly. We are coming. Just stay right there. Ethan, please, it's so cold out here. Ethan froze. His heart stopped beating. The operator's voice had just shifted into Sarah's voice. Before his brain could even process the horror, the phone line went completely dead. Static hissed in his ear. Ethan slowly lowered the phone. He looked down at the screen. There was no signal. There had been no signal all night in this storm. He hadn't dialed 911. The phone hadn't connected to any tower. The creature had never been outside the cabin. Suddenly, the realization hit him like a physical blow. The audio engineer, a master of sound, had been completely fooled. The footsteps on the porch, the breaking door, the voice outside, it had all been a distraction, a sonic illusion. Slowly, Ethan turned his head around. In the darkest corner of his small studio room, sitting right in his backup chair, was a mass of shifting skeletal shadows. The entity was holding a broken, severed telephone wire in one of its elongated, multi-jointed fingers. As Ethan watched in paralyzed horror, the shadow expanded, its face splitting open into a jagged, toothless maw. It didn't attack. Instead, it opened its mouth, and out came the exact crisp sound of a phone ringing. Ring. Ring. Then, the monster spoke. It used the 911 operator's calm, professional voice. 911, what is your emergency? And then, It shifted smoothly into Ethan's own voice, mimicking his final dying realization. Oh God, it's already inside. The screen goes completely black. The only sound left is the loud, echoing blast of a shotgun, followed by the sickening sound of something wet being dragged into the dark.